Clinker Factor, the cement industry podcast.
Welcome to the Clinker Factor, a podcast from WCA. I'm Ian Riley, CEO of WCA and your host on the Clinker Factor. Today we have a special episode to commemorate International Women's Day, in which I'll talk to 4 women from our member companies around the world about their experiences in the cement industry. The cement industry has struggled to attract women, and the overall representation of women in both management and frontline positions is very small. And so in late 2020, WCA set up a gender focus network. Manon Burbidge is our comms and policy coordinator and has been heading this up. So before we talk to our members, I'd like to ask Manon to briefly mention the aims and objectives of the gender network and introduce the theme of International Women's Day.
Hi, Ian. It's really nice to be on the podcast. So we set up the Gender Focus Network in order to address the current gender imbalance in the global cement industry. We don't really have any universal statistics, but data from the US suggests that only around 13% of the cement industry workforce is made up of women. So in a historically male-dominated industry, there's often a lack of structures that support female employees, and it remains difficult to attract and retain female talent. So with this in mind, our Gender Focus Network, or GFN for short, aims to firstly improve the representation of women in the industry, to encourage our members to implement gender diversity programs, share best practices, and to foster women's empowerment and professional development. The network's open for all WCA members, male or female, and we hope to host a range of events such as networking and webinars across the year.
So that's the background to our gender network. Can you also introduce the theme of International Women's Day?
Yes, so this year's theme is Choose to Challenge. So we hope that by challenging the lack of gender diversity in the cement industry, we'll be able to create a more inclusive and equal space for women. And in this podcast, we'll be able to speak to women from across our global membership and to be able to hear their stories and highlight some of their achievements.
Okay, well, and now we'll turn to our first guest. So first, I'm speaking to Alexis Breslin, who's Vice President of Human Resources at Solidia Technologies. Alexis, perhaps you could start by explaining how you got involved in the cement industry and what your journey has been so far.
Thanks, Ian. It's been interesting. I really started my career in telecom and learning and development, and then really ended up after leaving the workforce for my own children, coming back into the workforce, into heavy industry, into construction and manufacturing. And then from there, moved into the cement technology realm and working for a venture capital-led startup.
So there are things that you're doing at Solidia to try to attract more women into the company.
In relation to women in the industry, historically, as we've seen, it is a male-led industry for a number of different reasons. It's, a STEM environment in particular is one that, is really a growing field for women, and one that we're really looking towards to do more in the areas of recruitment, more in the areas of retention, and building the policies and the culture to sustain a very gender diverse company. I work with some local universities, tap into their concrete industry management program, and try to establish relationships with women a lot earlier in their career. Once they come into the organization, we really try to focus on retention and driving a culture that allows for a work-life balance, allows for a more empathetic culture and teamwork-led culture in an organization to make everyone, not just women, really feel inclusive.
And on the basis of perhaps your experience with Solidia and other experience, what can the industry as a whole do to become more inclusive, to recruit more women, and to provide a more attractive workplace for women?
I think the bottom line really is fostering an environment where gender diversity is both valued and promoted. It's not only good business sense, but also it's cyclical and it will attract more women into the industry. So as we have women joining our industry, that network continues to grow. People tend to get more excited and involved. And, we can't forget the sustainability factors. We're really looking to change an industry right now to bring it current into, today's world and, a better place, a more sustainable, environmentally friendly product. And so in just garnering that innovation, you're garnering some additional areas where women can grow and thrive. And so just fostering an environment that is inviting and creates that gender diversity will in turn continue to create that gender diversity for the future.
Okay, so you're optimistic that as we become more sustainable as an industry, we'll see some progress in this area too.
Absolutely. It's exciting right now. People, men and women together, are very excited about having a better environmental future for our planet, and certainly moving into different types of ways that they can affect change and feel good about the work that they do on a day-to-day basis. So I think that does, generate some excitement and renewed excitement for a very old industry.
So Alexis, thank you very much for speaking with us today, and happy International Women's Day.
Thank you very much.
So next I'd like to speak to Ma Jiao Mei, who is a researcher with Sinoma International. So Jiao Mei, could you give a brief introduction to your background and why did you get involved in the cement industry?
Yes, my major is about material science, especially in organic material science. So cement is a very important fundamental materials in China and also in Chinese industry development. I have ambitions to make it more clean, more efficiency, and more useful.
So I understand that recently you were recognized by the Tianjin city government and they gave you an award. Can you tell us about that?
I'm very proud about it. It is a very important prize, not only for me, but also for my company. Yeah, actually, in these recent years, Mai is the only lady for this award. It is an award for my contribution about the industry development, especially about the cement equipment and technology to reduce the fuel consumption, to reduce the gas emission, to make the traditional cement industry to be a high level.
So congratulations on that award.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about how it is to be a woman working in Sinoma when most of your colleagues, of course, are men? And what kind of things does Sinoma do to encourage women to come to work for them?
Actually, in these recent years, I have more and more women partners and also about women leaderships in traditional ideas. Maybe women is weak industry, especially in engineering industry. But now the women have the equal rights and the equal chance to do the work. Especially they have very good education and they are full of ambition and also they want to be as successful as men. And each year, my company will have some activities about women, such as invite some scholars. So the company will make sure we will balance our work and our life and our family. Take example, as me, I have a boy, is 7 years old, and in some very important project, I will go to the project on site, and my company will give me some help and will take some special guidelines for me. And each year, for example, in this month, our female workers will take some activities such as see some films and drink some teas. And also we will get flowers from the company. We will get some gift from our company. And they want us to be work in a very happy situation or phenomenon.
So these activities that the company has arranged, do you think that that is why you are seeing more and more female colleagues?
Yes, I think also it is related with the world development. And also when I go abroad, I also saw more and more women I will meet and to discuss with them not only the technology, but also for the management. And I think more and more women will go to work.
And so if you were talking to a company that had not very many women and had historically had difficulty in recruiting women, what would be your advice to them as to how they could recruit more women and encourage more women to come into the industry?
Yes, I think they can make sure they will get a good salary, especially equal salary principle as men. And they should not make difference. For example, they make the same expert, they should get the same salary. And then I think there are some principle for women. For example, if they have a baby, they should have some holiday, just as in our company, we will have 4 months about a new baby.
Okay, well, Jamé, thank you very much for talking to us today. Next, I have the pleasure of speaking with Laurence Lamy of Seminew. So Laurence, can you tell us a little about your background and how you ended up in the cement industry?
Hello, Jan. Yes, I started as a student in political science, and then I continued my studies in a business school. So clearly, I was quite far away from the cement, the building, the construction world. But just after my graduation, I joined Imerys. Imerys is specialized in mining and processing of minerals. And I spent 13 years in this company. Now I'm working in the cement industries for 1 year and a half, and I'm in charge of marketing, communication, and digital for Seminew.
Can I ask you what attracted you to join the cement industry?
I decided to work in the cement industry because it was an industry that I was knowing a little bit already. I used to sell refractory to the cement industry, so I was quite aware about the industry. And globally, I really like B2B marketing because it's based on technical features. It's totally different than the consumer goods. It's really what I like to do. I'm really a girl who likes to work in an industrial world.
If you look around the cement industry, though, you see that we aren't successful in attracting so many women. I think in finance and HR, we see a reasonably sort of 50-50 split, but especially in the industrial areas, in the plants, in marketing, we see a rather small representation by women. Do you have any insight as to why that might be?
I think the cement industry generally is a conservative industry. It's a slow mover. For example, the process of cement manufacturing has not changed for years. But the cement industry is facing a big challenge, which is the climate challenge, and the industry have to change. So I think women have a role to play in this change. Women can bring a different way to think and solve problems, and more generally, they can accelerate the change. So I think if the cement industry is facing an issue of recruitment, of women recruitment, it's because it's still considered as an old industry, but with its modernization, and I think that the cement industry have no choice. We have to modernize this industry. With this modernization, we will be able to attract more women because we will introduce new way of doing cement. So I think this modernization is key for the climate, but also it's a key for the feminization of the industry.
Yes, well, we certainly agree on that. The climate challenge is clearly the biggest challenge the industry is facing, and yeah, I share your view that that will attract that the changes that will bring about will attract more women and more young people into the industry. So you've been working for Seminew, which is a little unusual in the cement industry in that it's a relatively recent startup and has a different business model, a business model that tries to address some of the climate issues that you mentioned. What has been your experience in working with Seminew?
Seminew doesn't have a specific program to promote inclusion of women. I think it's a natural process. But as Seminew is a brand new company in the industry, we do things differently. It includes, of course, our CSR policy. We are very focused on the CO2 footprint reduction. We work, for example, in the supply chain. We try to reduce the footprint of our cement down. But we are also focused in diversity. For example, our production teams are very young, and we are also focused on training. We propose a lot of training for these people. And we can see also this focus on CSR on the place of women in our company. We have a lot of women in the team. For example, our first plant manager is Audrey Bonnet. She's a lady. The second plant, which will start to produce soon, is also run by a woman. And then after, we have me as a marketing director and also EHS director. So we have 4 women in the management team of the company. So I think we have a good example of if we try to do cement differently, we can have more women in the team. And I think also to make cement differently, you need to have more women in the team because as women, we will introduce new way of doing things.
Well, Laurence, thank you for that. And it's been a pleasure speaking to you today.
Thank you, Ian.
Next, I'll speak to Nitika Sharma of JK Cement. So Nitika, can you tell us a little about your background and how you got involved in the cement industry?
Thank you, Jan, for asking this question. So I started my professional career as an academician. So I completed my doctorate degree in HR. And after that, for a period of 12, 13 years, I entered into consultancy. So into consultancy, I got exposed to cement sector and steel and power sectors. And for a period of 5 years, I was as a consultant taking care of establishing HR processes and practices. And then I later on moved to a cement. I have seen cement for the past 7 years. I was confident that even being a woman, I will be accepted in the cement sector. So that's how I moved into the cement sector. And today, for the past 3.5 years, I'm working as, into HR domain with JK Cement India.
Okay. Can you give us a little bit of a flavor in terms of the background in India of gender and gender equality and the changes that you've seen during your career? And then maybe we can also talk more specifically about JK Cement.
Well, if I talk about the gender equality or inequality in India, as you would understand that, in an Indian society from a very long time back, the social structure has been such that the women have been neglected in many areas like education, health, financial independence, decision-making areas. So we as a women always have to struggle, for getting our equal rights, equal opportunities, and equal wages. I'm not going to enter into the causes and the reasons, but yeah, in a nutshell, I can say that the social norms and practices was such that it didn't allow the girls to, to be exposed to the possibility of education or better financial independence. Rather, there was a more possibility of child marriage, domestic work, poor education and health. And if you ask me today, well, we are not very high in the global, gender index, but still I say that the things are improving thanks to the various government policies, various, social norms, various social security, labor laws which are coming in. Uh, they are seeing that it ensures that the women are protected and the women are given equal participation rights and to put their voices at every level, be it at the entry level or be it at the board level. Now if you look at the cement sector, what it was 10 years back, a decade before, the percentage of women, acceptability in the sector was less than 1%. The cement was considered to be a hardcore, men job. The cement said that, oh, we are producing something which women can't do it, or in our manufacturing units, women can't enter. But today, after 10 years, oh, I'm going to say there has been a total transformation in the mindset or in the approach of the people in this sector. So they are accepting women, and the women are also coming into the cement sector. They are being welcomed with the open arms. Like for example, if I talk about JK Cement, we ensure that in a pool of 50 graduate engineer trainees that we are taking for the manufacturing units, at least 50 to 60% of them should be girls. We are taking management trainees to become our salespeople. Rather, sometime back there was a discussion, at the board level, and it was felt that with the quality, with the attributes that the women have, they can prove to be a better salespeople than a man, because they are passionate, they have a perseverance, they have patience, they have empathy, and their understanding and connecting with the people is.
So, Nitika, can I ask you a question there? What you've described is really encouraging, and it's about taking more women in at the entry level. How long do you expect it will be before you see a change in sort of middle management or senior management positions? I guess at the moment there's still rather few women in those senior management positions.
You are right. Yeah, right, Ian. Thank you for asking this, a very important question. I'll first come to the middle level. In the middle level, yes, we are taking women, I mean to say, but not in much larger percentage the way we are taking at the entry level, because there is a gap. There is a gap that has taken place. In the last 10 years, the cement sector was not very receptive towards the women, and thereby we find that the number of women also willing to come in the cement sector, that is also, there is a limit. They don't want, because they are either working in an IT sector or in other FMCG sectors, and thereby even getting the right talent sometimes, it becomes slightly challenging. So in HR, you find that 80% of the people sitting in the middle level are women. Even in finance, we are taking up, and in certain roles, like my head of new product development in white cement is a woman. So yes, we are taking, but the percentage is low. At the senior level, we are still struggling.
Would you say the experience at JK Cement is similar to other cement companies in India, or is JK a special case?
By and large, you will find the same trend, in the other cement sectors in India.
Okay. Well, maybe I know that you have a very active program there at JK, and perhaps we can close by asking you to tell us a little bit about the celebrations you plan for International Women's Day this year.
So the first and foremost is there are small things. Because of the COVID, we could not have a very big thing planned this year. But yes, the first and the foremost thing is we have started with the women's campaign, and by the corporate communication team. So we have started sending the mailers, some kind of triggers to all the JK Cement users, asking them to write and send it to us to whom they want to salute, to any women that they want to dedicate their life. Maybe it could be mother, could be daughter, could be wife, or could be anyone. That's the one campaign that we are running. And on the 8th of March, we are going to, showcase and highlight, the names of the women to whom the dedication has come from the various employees. So that is the first thing we are doing. Second thing is, of course, a letter of appreciation will go from the CHRO desk, saluting and recognizing and appreciating the efforts of the women. And then we are going to have a big party only for the women. So only women will go, and that is no budget constraint is there. And we can go out and we can enjoy the day the way we want to.
Well, Nitika, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. Thank you very much for appearing on the podcast.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ian. Thank you.
I hope you've enjoyed the perspectives from some of our members today. And I'll hand over to Manon for the last word.
Thanks, Ian. I just wanted to say to all our listeners, on behalf of all of us here at WCA, to have a wonderful International Women's Day. And if you want to keep up to date with the network's activities, you can look on the website or on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening.